Jeff.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3.
Dude. I'm so tired of hearing about this fucking game. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Gameplay reveal happened. They had an event specifically for this.
I saw it on Twitch.
Did you watch some of it?
No, I watched a very small clip of somebody that, people were putting little tiny snippets on Twitter.
Right,
I watched those, but I saw the hype there. I was too busy playing Grand Theft Auto, but I saw it had a bunch of views. There was fucking 150,000 people watching this shit.
Ton of people. And they
watching Borderlands 3
they basically
reveal.
just went on stage and handed the controller to somebody and said, play this for a bit. And that's what happened. So
great.
So I have some notes here. I watched it.
How was it?
So the first thing that I noticed was it looks like Borderlands.
Well,
which is a good start.
That's a good start.
They haven't gone so far away from the core formula that it doesn't look like Borderlands anymore. So we got that. It's Borderlands, but it's Borderlands in space.
Ooh. What do you mean in space? Like you're flying a ship?
Literally in space. So, for example, or
are you on a different planet?
There is a ship that acts as your hub, where a bunch of characters from the previous games are hanging out and they serve you your different things, whether it's a mechanic or a fucking whatever, the Iridium guy is still there and a bunch of other shit.
Okay.
And you can go to different planets.
All right.
So it's not just Pandora or whatever the original planet was. I can't remember off the top of my head.
While you're talking, I'm just gonna look at some footage.
So new movement mechanics. First thing I saw was the movement looks a little smoother than the old Borderlands games. Old Borderlands games were a little chunky in the movements.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like you were landing really hard every time you put your foot down. This is a little smoother. There's a sliding mechanic now.
Pretty looking.
Yeah, I mean Borderlands was never ugly.
Yeah,
and so they've just
it's definitely got an upgrade.
Obviously it's a much higher resolution cell shade than they did before.
Yeah,
and so it looks good. So there's no real two ways around that. If you like the art style, not everyone is into cell shading, but it does look pretty. Has a sliding mechanic in there now for movement speeds, or not movement speed, but just moving in general. Guns all have an alternate firing mode now.
There is space.
Effectively doubling, I guess, the gun count that they can tell everyone. They have some of the alternate firing modes that I saw were cool. Some of them were dog shit, and I just didn't care. They were showing off some more environmental stuff. So, you can shove barrels around and shoot them from a distance, once you knock them towards enemies. There were, little things that you could shoot to, spill out, stuff onto enemies that it was either flammable or maybe it was poison, or they have a new they have a radiation damage type now or something along those lines, where if an enemy gets radiated enough to a point, when you kill them they explode and they irradiate enemies around them. So little bits of upgrades here and there.
Yeah.
But at the core it's still totally fucking Borderlands.
You know what this looks like? I'm just quickly looking at these clips here. This looks like Destiny in a different shade, in a different art style.
To be fair, Destiny was basically a bad copy of Borderlands. Borderlands started the looter shooter hype, and all Destiny did was take the looter shooter idea and try to MMO it and gamify it in an MMO space. That's basically all that was.
Now, did they say anything about the multiplayer and how that's going to work?
Yes. So there was some showing of 2-player, but they have local co-op, offline local co-op. You don't need to be online all the time and shit apparently. And then just your regular old-fashioned online co-op as well. I only saw 2 people at most when I was watching it, but I'm sure it's probably like the old ones where you get up to 4.
Yeah. Can you play it online, you think? And play with
other people online?
In space. There's ships and people can come in and...
No, I think the ship is just like the hub city. It just so happens to be that the city moves.
It's in space, yeah.
So it's just like the other games where if you go back to the hub with your crew, they're going to go with you. You'll all be on the same ship. Type deal. So you don't personally fly the ship. You choose a point to go to.
How do you feel if? Would you be more excited if this Borderlands was Destiny? As in, it
Hell
was
no,
it was
Destiny's
an online
fucking garbage.
But if it was online with raids and you could get on with other people and fucking go into different planets and looter shoot and do missions
turn it into
turn it into a Destiny game where it's
Right.
more online focused instead of just complete co-op. Now, trust me, that's not what I want. I'm just asking because I prefer to have just a local co-op or just an online co-op. So say you and I could play together,
Right.
just do a story and call it a day.
Yeah.
Don't need to get complicated with everything else. But do you feel like since stylistically it is so much different than all of the other type of Destiny and Destiny clones like
Right.
Anthem and even the Division to some degree, that do you think it would play better? Because I look at this game and it's almost like if they did it in the Destiny way, it's almost like a Path of Exile meets some crazy.
Well, it's a looter shooter.
It's a looter shooter.
So what you're just it's like all of those games that you just described, especially Path of Exile. I mean, that's an ARPG, which is basically a loot-based RPG, top-down, whatever, right? But it's all based around loot. And Borderlands is all about guns, which is their core loot. There's not armor or anything like that.
It's
just the guns.
It's guns. Yeah.
So, does it work in that format? Yes. Would I want it? No.
Okay.
Would anyone else want it? Probably not.
Good.
And I don't think you'd ever get it anyway.
Did they talk about the card game? Or was it this just specifically Borderlands 3? Because remember, they said that they were launching a card game as well, right?
No, this was just I maybe they did, but I only watched. It was just I think this was just gameplay for Borderlands 3. I don't think they talked anything really about that.
There's a lot of hype with this game right now. Like I'm going to be honest with you,
Borderlands is a very popular franchise.
It's a popular franchise, but it's not supposed to be this popular. It's not supposed to make this like. You can make the argument that like
it's hard to remember because Borderlands 2 came out so long ago. Like it was 6 or 7 years, so it's been a long while. And if I stop and think about when Borderlands 2 came out, it was pretty fucking huge.
Okay, all right.
It's just the thing for me with Borderlands is it's not really my thing because all the Borderlands games, for better or worse, are the same fucking game.
Yeah.
So once you've played Borderlands, you've played every other Borderlands. And so if you're not invested in the characters in the story, the gameplay doesn't do it for me. The gameplay is like when they were showing it off and whenever they were trying to act like they were super hype about it and shit, nothing that I saw was impressive. People were clapping for standard FPS mechanics.
Well, I saw somebody on Twitter make a video where he's like, "Yo, I'm live at this place."
Yeah, and
he's like, "Somebody just threw a grenade and people were going crazy."
Exactly.
Somebody just meleeed with their weapon and people were losing their minds.
Yes,
and I'm going.
So they were cheering basic FPS mechanics, right? So it's. From that, in that regard, the gameplay doesn't do anything for me. The abilities look kind of fun that I saw, but they're just kind of there to make you feel powerful. Because I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time, unless they're abilities that are passively increasing your ability to dole out damage with weapons, oftentimes they're just kind of fucking whatever.
Yeah.
You can do a thing where you jump up in the air and you dash down, you do all sorts of damage around you. You're like, woo! Except they used that and it didn't even kill like a fucking grunt in one hit.
Great.
So he was like, he did it, and it was like, whoa, that was super awesome,
like,
and they're still alive.
It's like, oh, okay.
No, it wasn't even, it was like a tiny-ass fucking regular enemy.
And people were like,
yes! Look cool! But it didn't kill them, and they shoot them with a pistol, and they die. And it's just like, well, it is what it is. So if you're not invested in the characters, of which you're getting most of the, like, you're getting, like, the greatest hits of Borderlands...
It's fine.
Are in the game.
It's fine.
So for the Borderlands fans,
good.
Probably this is incredible and everyone's loving it, and that's fantastic. And it does visually look fantastic.
Does look good.
The writing is always quite funny. Sometimes
funky characters. And
sometimes
stuff.
They don't give enough of a reprieve from it, and so the tone gets grating after a while.
Yeah.
Like there's
a little too cartoony.
It's too much up here. It doesn't ever come down here for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
There's a new Claptrap voice who tries their best to sound like old Claptrap. Doesn't really do it, but
sure.
they got 80% of the way there.
Great,
which is impressive. But that's that went over well. I'm seeing basically if you are a fan of Borderlands, like for example in our community, It's Meow is a monstrous fucking Borderlands fangirl.
Yep,
huge.
Yep,
her Twitter was just blowing up with her watching that shit, and just she was like, I'm crying tears of joy over here and shit. So for those people, this is like the second coming of Christ. It's great. for people who have already played the other games that aren't like super invested in story or characters or whatever, then this is probably not going to be anything that's going to be on the radar to buy day one. It's going to be one of those things, maybe you pick it up on sale in the future.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking done.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, like it doesn't look like a bad game. It just everything feels overhyped. I don't know, and it could be, I think what it is, honestly, I think it's genius marketing by Borderlands 3. I think it's genius plays with the whole Epic thing. I think there's just a lot of genius going on behind the scenes, and I think the real winners are the people that are in charge of marketing and the ones that created this event, creating the hype, getting people talking about it, almost like brainwashing people in thinking that this is bigger and better than what it actually is, because it just looks like it's more Borderlands, which isn't a bad thing, but man, Jesus.
I don't want to say this wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Randy Pitchford is the head of
this is straight up getting Red Dead Redemption like hype, you know, like it's getting that type of buzz. And there should be no reason why Borderlands 3 is getting a Red Dead Redemption type hype before it comes out. I don't get it.
I think that just tells you that there is a community that's bigger than you remember.
No, you know what I think it tells me? I think it tells me that the community is desperate.
How's this being overhyped? There's not even been that much marketing. They put on this little fucking show.
It wasn't little at all.
Yeah, but it's not like they marketed it for like 6 weeks ahead of time. Like, here comes. It's not even during E3 week. They just fucking dropped this shit the middle of a goddamn work week in the afternoon. Over 100,000 people showed up.
I think people are desperate for a single player. I think people are desperate for a game that is not a battle royale.
Well, that's good news for them then.
It's great. I just think it's overhyped.
I'm not buying it on day one or some shit.
Yeah, so I'm not buying it on day 7.
So, you know, it is what it is, but for me, it comes down to, do you like the characters? Because the gameplay is just fucking whatever. It's not doing anything that any other game has ever not done, and it doesn't even do it better than all the other games. It just does it okay.
No.
So, you know, it's characters and the writing and art style.
Great. Awesome.
Randy Pitchford, who's
I hope it's good.
Who is the head of Gearbox, has been vocal as fuck on Twitter about everyone coming at them either for the Epic Game Store exclusivity, or recently he went after Game Informer for putting out an article that was saying that Randy on stage, because he said there are no microtransactions in this game. There are microtransactions in this game. They're just cosmetic, which in Randy's mind apparently meant that microtransactions were like
downloadable content,
cosmetic stuff only, that has no impact on the game, wouldn't be considered a microtransaction, and so he felt the need to say that, and so he went after Game Informer's, the way that Game Informer worded it, and they had this big fucking like awkward back and forth on Twitter and shit. And at the end of the day, look, Randy Pitchford is a bit of a fucking idiot. He gets himself a little too emotionally involved on social media all the time. He has this thing where he'll go out and he'll just fucking get in spats with people.
He's got little big dick syndrome.
But he does also just lie a lot and then get caught in it and then tries to back himself, out of the situation. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this shit, are there microtransactions? Yes. Are they nickel and diming you for shit? No. And Borderlands has in the past been one of the better games when it came to microtransactions because it was never egregious. It was never penny pinching, or not penny pinching, but nickel and diming people. And the DLC that they put out was always super fair priced, if not way below market.
They did put out good content on their DLCs
and providing long. It
was a juicy amount of stuff,
and it was like an entire fucking storyline, new characters and shit.
Yeah.
So
don't say you don't have microtransactions. You have microtransactions.
That was just stupid.
Right? That's just dumb.
It was a dumb thing to say. Just clarify that. Be like, the only thing that's in there are some skins and shit.
Yeah, that's it.
And leave it at that. If you want it, you want it. If you don't, it's not going to change your life. And we're still going to put out DLC that's fairly priced that give you a lot of content like we did in the past.
Yep.
Full stop.
Great.
Because that was like his crusade was. We're trying to not be like every other AAA game right now. Is what he's been saying on Twitter forever. Is we don't want to be the AAA team.
Stop lying to us.
Doing that. So then maybe
stop lying.
Maybe don't lie.
Yeah. Shut your mouth. Make a good game. And
let it speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.